in California is expensive. Whether you ask the average Californian or not, the fact is California is one of the most expensive places to live, not just in America, but across the world. With such high prices, many Californians wonder, how can housing be more affordable? This is where income inequality comes into play. Income inequality, by definition, is the extent to which income is distributed in an uneven manner among a population. With this in mind, I've invited my colleague, Anthony. He's been doing extensive research on income inequality.
The best way to measure income inequality is using the Gini coefficient, which summarizes income inequality from a number that ranges from 0 to 1. Here, 0 stands for perfect equality, while 1 stands for perfect inequality.
Now, what does this mean in terms of housing affordability? To better understand this, let's look at an example. The median single-family home in California is $843,000. The minimum income required to qualify for a mortgage of this home would be $221,000. As a whole, California's median income is a mere $84,000. This means that well over 50% of Californians cannot afford the median-priced home. Let's compare the same factors I just listed for a county such as San Francisco. The median single-family home price is $1.5 million. To qualify for such a mortgage, you must make well over $400,000. But overwhelmingly, 34.7% of San Francisco residents make over $200,000 a year. While this may seem high, over 65% of San Francisco earners cannot afford the median home. However, San Francisco County makes up only 2% of the 40 million Californians there are. If we run the same tests on half of all Californians, we'd find that 80% of people cannot afford a mortgage of the median single-family home. This makes renting the only option for those who are looking for a place to live. In fact, the most popular reason to rent is due to an inability to qualify for a mortgage. With this being said, this does not mean that everyone in California is being impacted the same. Anthony will give you a better insight on this.
If we look up to the top 10% of earners in California, we found out that over 84% of these individuals are either from white or Asian demographics. In addition, as we get closer and closer to the bottom 10% of earners, the largest demographic is Hispanics, along with African Americans increasing as well.
And that's not all. The lack of diverse, high-paying jobs in California also aids to the problem. We know this by looking at the top 10 highest-paying jobs in California. Here, well over a majority of these occupations relate to the medical industry. One of the most prominent players in income inequality is low-income earners. Housing affordability creates limited options for lower incomes, making renting often the only option. Thankfully, the U.S. government has programs to support low-income earners. An example is means-tested benefits, which are government assistance programs designed to provide financial support to lower incomes. However, recent California legislation for environmental protection has not improved housing affordability. Moving forward, all newly built houses in California will require having solar panels installed. This itself increases the cost of building houses in California by over $30,000, in which sellers often include this cost in the listing price. Now let's meet Jeffrey, a native Californian living in the Central Valley, to provide more input.
What really comes to mind is media exposure on the topic. We have think tanks such as Pew Research and Brookings Institution that are fixated on getting revenue from writing on income inequality, as well as housing affordability.
Jeffrey here is talking about how, for better or worse, media exposure contributes to the issue of income inequality and housing affordability. This relates closely to educational institutions who research solutions to such problems. Unlike media exposure, educational institutions seek to solve housing affordability. In a way, we can also thank media exposure for enhancing the general awareness of this issue. Coming back to where we really started, how can housing be more affordable? When looking at what most people want, they say that the federal government should be the one in charge of solving income inequality. If we look at what the federal government has really done, they merely uphold battles that are between political parties, such as with the Fair Housing Act. So the question becomes, is the federal government really a solution? To address this, I've invited Spencer, a native Australian, to share his experience.
Maybe a better approach would be to look at the individual causes of income inequality and housing affordability. One that comes to mind is education. Australia has recently invested $3.5 million in developing a guidance for educating the youth.
While improved education can empower individuals and potentially enhance earning capabilities, it's just one facet among numerous factors contributing to income inequality and housing affordability. Raising the minimum wage or increasing means-tested benefits are options as well. While this may offer a progressive solution, its implementation requires comprehensive tax reforms that ensures fairness and discourages loopholes. If you sat through this thus far, you may now know that housing affordability is an issue that correlates strongly to income inequality, and there's many ways to solve it. If you're interested in reading articles, connecting with others, and sharing feedback, please visit our website called Income Inequality Problem Solvers at the link shown here and shown in the description below.